Welcome to Business Talk Sister Gawk. I'm Becca.
And I'm Ruthie.
And today we get the opportunity to talk with Chef Smith from Heaven's Healthy Kitchen. And I am super excited because, one, I kind of gave a little bit away of what he does, but he's going to tell us more about it. And he started already telling us, and we thought, whoa, we have to slow down and get this recorded because he's got a lot of great backstory and everything. So thank you so much for being with us, Emmanuel.
Thank you guys for the invite. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Okay. Yeah, so so I am a self-proclaimed chef. I did go to school. I didn't finish school, but oftentimes I found myself teaching the teacher. So I felt that I didn't need the schooling. Of course, it's good to have, paper to say what you do, but I personally think it's all in your skills. And so I just go with what I've been, what I've learned, uh, what I've experienced, and what tastes good. So I can take leftovers and just make them come to life uh, again. And so I think that's the gift that God has given me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have this gift and all these different talents that have been molded over the years, and you're incorporating your creativity and all of that. So how did you kind of hone that all into making it into a business?
Growing up, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, home of the barbecue and everything else. And I used to watch my mom cook, and I used to see her put it in the measuring cup and the teaspoons and stuff, and that just grabbed my attention. Like, man, like you start from this, and then you come out with this pie, this meatloaf, this cake, and so I was just always intrigued by by that. And so, of course, 4, 5, and 6. So I'm just wanting to go in the kitchen to eat. Is the food ready? But as I got up, and I would say about 7, that's when I was like, how does this go together? How do you put this with this and mix this together? And so my mother stopped kicking me out of the kitchen because I was trying to make and eat food, and she saw that he wants to learn how to cook, and so I would go in there and she would say, okay, you put this with this, and you measure this, and you add the milk and the egg and the butter, and so from there, that's where I was first taught. I believe I was 36 or 7 when I actually got a job to work in a kitchen. This was my first time besides high school, working in a kitchen or whatever. But it was like big equipment, and I learned so much added on to what I already knew, and that experience taught me so much how to cook for 500 people, and there was a point in time where I was the only cook in the kitchen, like no prep cooks or anything. And so I would never advise that because that almost burned me out. But People had
Wow.
called in and, quit and stuff. So how HHK got started with just Heaven's Healthy Kitchen. Um,
Hmm.
2013. I was, my son poked my belly, and I'm like, man, I wanna lose weight. He poked my belly, and he ran off and was laughing, and I was like, man, that's mess messed up. And so I said, something needs to change quick. Cause I'm like, I was in the army, I was in shape, I had the six pack and all of this. And so I prayed and I asked God, I need your help. I've tried everything. And so God told me what to do. He said that I have to change what I eat, how much I eat, when I eat. I need to take better care of myself.
Hmm.
And so I said, I knew that's what God was gonna say. And I said, well, God, I need your help. Like, I can't do this on my own. And so God did just that. I went on two fasts. I did a fruit fast.
Hmm.
Then I did a juice. The fruit fast was the hardest. The third day, I was like, man, my stomach is growling. Everybody in the house is eating fries and burgers and stuff. I was like, Lord, help me. And so that God gave me strength. I said, I have to do this to overcome this weight gain. So I got through that. Then I had the juice fast, which was much better. So 2 weeks I did it. I lost 15 pounds,
Wow.
and from there my confidence just kept on building. So over the course of 6 months, I lost 60 plus pounds.
Wow.
So I went from 230 to 180. And
Wow.
so, if anyone is trying to lose weight or whatever, change their diet, you have to change your palate. I would stop eating, let's say, ice cream, but then I would go back to it. So my palate didn't have enough time to change. So that's where the cravings came back. So I changed my diet, and so I'm now on a plant-based. I don't do no dairy, no meat, no fish. So I've figured out by just researching and seeing, oh, but this how you make this, and this right here looks like chicken. It tastes like chicken. Oh, I can make my own cheese. So I made my first meal. It was macaroni and cheese, uh, fake chicken, and a salad. And I was just so excited about this. Cooking plant-based is an art. Like, you have to be very creative, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I make this plate. I put it up on Facebook, and people are like, "Man, that looks good," and they're just really raving. And I'm like, "This is on a plastic plate. I mean, it's okay. The food tasted okay." And so I'm just happy that I lost the weight, and I just want to share, what I did and how I was helped and stuff. And so I posted another plate, and I got the same response. But at this point, the people were like, "Hey, you should start your own business," and I'm like, "Start my own business from this?"
Mm.
So So I go back to Facebook and say, well, since y'all think I should start this business, give me a name. And of course, people came up with crazy names, and I'm like, nope, nope, not that. Mm-mm, don't. Oh, healthy kitchen. And I was like, I kind of like that.
Hmm.
And so went back to God. I, I said, God, what do you? I like healthy kitchen, but what do you want me to call it?
Hmm.
And he said, call it Heaven's
Hmm.
Healthy Kitchen.
Wow.
And I was like, I like that. And so I was like, all right, here is the name. So before I announced it, I went online to see, does anybody else have this name? So I looked under the registry. I looked on Google, and nobody had it.
Hmm.
And I did see Healthy Kitchen. And I was like, okay, well, I wasn't gonna name it that anyway. But
Hmm.
that's the only name that I've heard that sound close to what I have. And so from there, 2013 February, Heaven's Healthy Kitchen was born. And I
Wow.
was like, God, how do I get this started? I just got house pots and pans. I don't have any money. How is this gonna grow? And so God has had He has had me step by step, and I look back 7 years 7 years ago, and I'm like, man, I've come a long way from one mixer, and I'm like, man, it has truly grown. And you know how when you start, you're trying to let people know what you do. And so
Hmm.
you're going through all of the process of passing out cards and passing out this, hey, tell this person about this. And so the fact that people call me now and are like, hey, what you cooking for this week? Like like if I forget to put up the menu, or I'm just kind of slow with putting it up, people are like, what's on the menu? so
Yeah.
so
So tell us about that piece. Are you you've got this business now. So how do you run your business? You just put out the menu and then people come pick it up from you, or do you have a location? How does that work?
yeah, so in the beginning it was catering. That was the whole thing. I cater, and I even put catering on the name. It was Heaven's Healthy Kitchen Catering. Because that's all I did. People said, man, you should cook, every week and have a special meal. And I said, oh, okay, let me try that out first to see. I tried it out. There was a few people, and I'm like, it's not a big profit in that. So I went back to catering, and so the man was getting very great for doing weekly meals, and
Mm.
so I put out the menu in 3 spots. I put it on Instagram, well, 4 spots: Instagram, Facebook, my website, and I put it up on my. I also have a site that they can order straight from. I put it up there, and I understand people are busy. They'll see it, forget about it. So I do reminders, and I also have a MailChimp email.
Yeah, like
So
your email
mhm,
marketing and stuff like that. Yeah.
yes, so whenever I have an event, I get people's email.
Mm.
So if they're not on social media, or if we're not friends on social media, I can still reach them also.
So tell us about like your process that you go through every week. So are you I'm just picturing you in your kitchen whipping out
Mhm.
this, is it a new menu every week, or how do you do that, and then do you just make it all, people order from you? What does that look like?
Okay, so every other Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. Um, I know typically people do it every week, but I didn't want to do that because I didn't want the tacos to get like old. It's like, all right, every week that gives people a chance to kind of miss it and go, oh yeah, I'm gonna get the tacos. But every week it's a different meal. It depends on the demand. I deal with more fresh vegetables and fruits and homemade and from street. I like to do it either the day before or on the day, so everything is fresh. I don't like to do 3 4 days out because I'm not dealing with box
Yeah.
stuff and stuff that's pre-made. So with the Asian bowl, I do brown rice. I make my own sauce. I did a almond butter sriracha
What?
sauce.
What?
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. When people order, they can say, "Well, I don't want to have the onions on it," so they can pretty much make their own bowl. Yeah, it's either pick up or delivery. I offer both.
Wow. That's so cool. So then now you've got this whole thing going. You've got all of your social media accounts running every week and all of that, and you've figured out kind of what you like to make and everything, and you've got your following. You've got all these
Mhm.
events that you're doing. How do you get events? How does that work?
So
Yeah.
about 2 years ago, a friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you do Instagram?" And I'm like,
Mm.
"Instagram? How does that work?" And so they showed me. They said, "Hey, you have stories, and you can post things
Mm.
there, and you can advertise your business." And I'm like, "All right, that sounds good, but I don't know how to start it."
Mm.
So of course I went to YouTube Academy,
Mm.
and I got a diploma with learning how to do social media. Once I did that, that's when everything began to grow. I went from a couple hundred uh, followers to like now I'm at 2,400, I think, and that's organically.
Mm.
That's not paying for followers and all the doing special things. That's like literally people adding me,
Mm.
people finding out about me. Huntsville is pretty small, and so
Mm.
we have a network here where all of the vegan businesses, like we all come together. We share. Hey, this event here is happening. At the beginning, of course, I had to reach out and find out what's going on and
Mm.
let me get HHK out there so people know. And so now people, uh, they come to me and they reach out to me and say, hey, we would like you to be a part of this
Mm.
event. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
so you've started all this stuff, you've learned a ton. What if there's somebody who is wanting to start this, what resources would you recommend to them?
I would say figure out the network in your city. When things are small, businesses tend to kind of connect because me and my family moved to Huntsville. I don't know anybody here.
Mm.
Once I started to put HHK out there, that's when I found out, oh, it's about 3 or 4 other plant-based businesses. And so I
Mm.
got to know them, friendly people, helpful
Mm.
people.
Good.
I would say that would be the first thing is to find out who's doing the same thing that you do, not as a competition thing, but as trying to get to know them and to see where you can fit.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
earlier we were just chatting with you, and you were telling us a fun story about when you first started cooking. So this will be the Sister Gawk portion of our show. So I would love to hear the whole story about that.
Okay, so this is about pre HHK. So I now the food I cooked before then was good. Like I would make baked chicken and mac and cheese and different things. And so on this particular day, I decided to be extra creative.
Hmm.
And so I was making, I think, Chinese food at the beginning. And so this crazy thought came across my mind to make Italian all, all also, but combine the two.
Mhm.
Never have done this in my whole life. So I took Chinese noodles and mixed Chinese sauce with Italian vegetables and sauce.
Hmm.
And so it took me all day. Everybody was waiting to eat, and so they all excited. And here it is. And so the children were like, "It's not good, Daddy." And my wife said, "Never ever make this. You can't combine those two. That does not work."
Yeah, a
And
little crossover mashup that did not pair well.
it did not. And she reminds me of that to this day. You
That's awesome.
remember that one time that you tried to mix? I was like, let's not talk about that.
Let's change the subject. I don't want to. I don't want to relive that.
Let's hear
Well,
what I do now.
yeah, let's focus on the positives here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they were honest with you.
Yes, my family is always honest. They would tell me if
Well,
something is not good.
thank you so much for spending time with us today and sharing about a little bit about your business and the journey you got to get there. We
Oh,
really
you're
enjoyed
welcome.
having you.
Thank you so much for joining us, listeners. Just send our podcast to a friend of yours this week, and we will see you again next week.